The demon continued, everyday human affairs are just like this. If your intention is not true and you conduct yourself incorrectly, you will lack diligence in the affairs of your Lord and be disloyal. You will dither around with the affairs of your parents and show no filial piety and not be sincere to your relatives and friends. People will despise you, society will detest you, and you will be unable to cope with things. When your chi does not fill your entire body, inwardly you will be prone to sickness and your mind will be hard up. In your affairs you will be preoccupied and anxious, and you will be unable to undertake any noble enterprise. When you obstruct the character of things, you run counter to human nature, distance yourself from matters, and are out of harmony. And when this happens, you end up in conflict. When your spirit is unsettled, you have many doubts and your affairs are unending. When your thoughts are moving, you have no tranquility and make a multitude of mistakes. The demon spoke further. To say that there is no movement of chi when the mind doesn't move, and that technique will follow naturally, is really only an explanation expressing the standard rather than the very foundation of the essence of principle. This is not to say that disciplining oneself in technique is a waste of one's resources. Principle is explained from the top down, while training is sought after from the bottom up. And this is just the way things are. Man's mind, too, is not without the good. When you follow your own true character and are not a slave to your passions and desires, your spirit will not be troubled. You will be in touch with the phenomena of this world, and practical application will have no obstacles. For this reason, the way of the great learning is in making clear your adamantine character, and in the doctrine of the mean, it says that complying with your character is called following the way. In explaining this great fundamental principle from the top, scholars express its standard. Nevertheless, the mediocrity and confusion of some people are deep, and such people are unable to change the substance of their chi and directly return to the spirit of their true character. For this reason, scholars preach about the extension of knowledge and making one's will and heart sincere. They also expound self-examination, being watchful over ourselves when we are alone, and would have us step over the true ground of self-discipline. Swordsmanship is also like this. Facing your opponent, you forget about life, forget about death, forget about your opponent, and forget about yourself. Your thoughts do not move, and you create no intentions. When you are in a state of no mind and leave everything to your natural perceptions, metamorphosis and change will be conducted with absolute freedom, and practical application will have no obstacles. When in the midst of a great number of opponents, you will cut and thrust before and behind and to the left and right, and even if your body is smashed to bits, your chi will be under control and your spirit settled. You will suffer no changes at all. You will be as correct and peerless as Tzu Lu. If you will be like this, how could you fail to be without result? This is the deepest principle of swordsmanship. Nevertheless, it is not a way you can climb up directly without incurring traveling expenses. If you do not try out your techniques, temper your chi, train your mind, or make intense and diligent efforts without fail, you will never reach this way. If you are led in your early studies by what my colleague has said, full stop, you will never reach this way, full stop. If you are led in your early studies, or even studies by what my colleague has said, you will become stubborn and vacuous and will think that you have it when there is nothing in your mind. Becoming indolent, you will be mistaken about harmony and enlightenment. The strong, unskillful man that my colleague spoke about bears a resemblance to the kind of crushing martial art in every style, but he is slightly different. Such a man is inconstant and unsettled. Defeat here is using brute force and vigorous strength and trampling the opponent underfoot. His ardor does not shrink, and he is not perplexed by empty show. Aiming wholeheartedly at the main camp of the enemy, he cuts his way through like a tumbling boulder. Nevertheless, when he is violent, his chi is overflowing and scattered, and if he meets up with a man skillful in technique, he will fall into the man's strategy. When you do not know the advantages and disadvantages of form, you will make mistakes. Thus, there are lessons to be found in form as well. In defense, you will not lose yourself. Your chi will neither congeal nor constrict. You will forget about life and death and will advance without doubts. There is crushing by means of chi and destruction by means of mind. Together, these two become one. If mind and chi do not become one, there can be no crushing. This is an excellent initiation for the beginning student of swordsmanship. But when chi wavers and there is doubt, he will not be able to put technique into action. There is self-discipline in chi, and there is great effort in becoming free from doubt in the mind. Nevertheless, if chi takes form just once, there will be no mysterious technique of the application of the essence of mind without obstacle and Nevertheless, if chi takes form just once, there will be no mysterious technique of the application of the essence of mind without obstacle and in complete freedom. If you make a detailed effort concerning this point, continuously strive to understand its principle, and calm your ardor, your technique will mature and you will reach the substance of the thing itself. But if from the very beginning you only make ineffective efforts, you will lose the spirit of the thing, will put yourself through a lot of trouble, and will have nothing to show for it after all.